can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
You've told me that you've got an injury. I've seen it. You've rolled the sleeve of your jumper up. I've seen it. And you tell me you're on painkillers and tablets. So I will take that on advisement. So if you stray offline, I'm going to ask you this once again, Don. Don.
I can't pull the sleeve
down. Because it's swollen. I'm going to ask you this once again. Could you please put your mouth in front of the microphone and don't... No, Don, please. Please speak into it. I don't care what you say, but speak into it. And what is wrong with you're on tablets, you're on painkillers and drugs, you mentally with us?
No, not really, Johnny, but let's go. Oh, hello. Geez, John, you look different.
What?
You look different. Why haven't you shaved?
Because I haven't.
I've never seen you with stubble.
Thanks, Don. Now, Don...
You look like you need a good shower.
Thank you, Don. Now, Don...
What are we doing?
I'll tell you what we're doing. This will probably be the last time we speak about this, and you'll say thank heavens, but we should speak about it because it's consuming the news here in Australia and overseas. And this is about the US election. The media have decided that Joe Biden is going to be the next president. This is far from over, let me tell you. There is disputed returns in 3 of the key states, and they will go to the Supreme Court of America for fraudulent voting. That is, people not registered to vote, illegal voting. And eventually, no matter how much the media push... Let me get on to Joe Biden in a minute. No matter how the media push the fact that Biden will be the president, he is not yet, and it is not clear-cut. And Trump has a very good chance of retaining the presidency if the Supreme Court determine that the votes were illegal, that is, count all the votes but count the legal votes. And the very fact that the media are pushing Biden so early and so vehemently, they fear that he might actually not win the presidency. Now, that is a fact. As for Joe Biden...
Excuse me, can I ask one
Please,
question?
I want you to ask as many as you like. And speak into the microphone.
Biden has 290 votes or seats?
No.
Well,
he's got to get 270 to win.
He's got 290. And Trump 214.
There is dispute... I'm going to repeat this again.
Stay with it, Don.
Stay with it, Don.
No, stay with your argument, Don.
I'm going to repeat this again. The votes are disputed and they will go to the Supreme Court of America to decide whether the 3 swing and key states, those votes are legal. That is, they are not illegal votes. Count all the votes but count them legally. And the very fact that they are so quick to anoint Joe Biden as the next president means that they fear that this might go to court and they might find a ruling against him. Now, that is just what's going on. As for Joe Biden, this man is, at least say what you like about Donald Trump, he might be rude, brash, he might be pig-headed, piggish, but he does it on his own. He does not rely on a media to prop him up through an entire campaign because Joe Biden cannot speak, he cannot think, and as I said in a tweet, I'll get on to what I said in a tweet in a minute, I have no problem repeating what I said in a tweet. Joe Biden...
Hang on, you said something on Twitter, took it down, did you?
I did, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I took it down, not intimidated by the vole, by the shrieking shrews and the viragos that rail up against anything that they don't agree with. I'll tell you why I took it down, but first of all, Joe Biden is the most dishonest, corrupt, unworthy person ever to lead a country. He is nothing more than an empty vessel an empty vessel that gets filled up with the bile and the shit his supporters give him, and like a colostomy bag, he expiates, he lets it out. He just lets it out, and the people who like him lap it up, and the rest of us and the rest of the electorate, half the electorate. Trump got more votes. Trump got more votes this election than Obama ever got in any of his elections.
So did Joe Biden.
Pardon?
So did Joe Biden.
And more people,
so-
more people turned out. We all know that.
Hang on.
People got more enthused
The
about
Rocket says so did Joe Biden. This is what's in dispute. Trump says if you count the legal votes, he's the president. This is going to be decided by the Supreme Court of America. It's not going to be decided by the media. Joe Biden is a dishonest, corrupt liar. And he is, and I said, I'll tell you what I said about Joe Biden, and I'll tell you the reason I said Joe Biden. What are you talking about? Don't say it.
Don't say it. Refer to it, but don't say it.
Shut up. I said. I can't remember what I said about him.
The real Johnny's coming out.
I said Joe Biden.
Here he goes.
Joe Biden is in the stages of being mentally retarded. I used the word. So I put this on Twitter. I always think very carefully about what I say on Twitter because there is no excuse to put something on Twitter that you regret later. The only reason I took it down is that I used the word retarded in its strict sense. It means characterised by slowness and a limited intellectual ability. He has become retarded, Joe Biden, mentally. I said that, and the reason I took it down is because people took it to the other meaning, saying that it was disparaging and offensive. I meant no offence to anyone who is intellectually retarded except Joe Biden. I was pointing out the fact that his mental acuity and his ability to understand what's going on, there are chapter and verse of the mistakes he's made because he is in mental decline. And I'm saying he is retarded mentally. I have no problem saying that, and I have no problem saying it again. He is a disgrace, and the people that propped him up should be ashamed of themselves. But he's not there yet. He is not there yet. And as for the flack that I received, if you think you're going to intimidate me not to have an opinion, every single medical person that speaks about Joe Biden's acuity and his mental awareness says that he is in decline, and that means he is becoming retarded mentally. I have no problem saying that, and you can write and say whatever you like about me. That is a fact. Go ahead.
You shouldn't use that word because it's triggering, mate. I understand what you're saying about the definition, but it's triggering.
Now listen to me. I'm just explained why I said it.
Yeah, I know.
Someone replied and said. Someone said that they agreed with me about Biden, but they were mentally disabled and I should choose my words wisely. I replied, I said I did choose them wisely. I didn't say he was mentally disabled. I said he is on the verge. I said he is becoming mentally... what's the word?
Yeah, that word. Starts with R.
Retarded. That's what I said, and that is absolutely that is 100%. Have no problem saying that again. I'm not using it in a disparaging term or offensive term to anyone else that might fit into that category. I'm talking about him, and every medical person you hear speaking about it says it, but not quite in those words because they dance around it. I don't care if you can take it any way you like. That's why I took it down off the Twitter. That's why I deleted it. The only thing I've ever deleted because people took it to the fact that there's 3 or 4 definitions of it. One of them is an offensive slang term, disparaging and offensive, and the other is actually what I said it was, which is a true description of Joe Biden, who is, by whatever standard you like, a shill, a empty vessel, a fraud. He is a hoax on the American electorate, and that is my opinion. And you wait. They say, oh, he gets up and he says he cannot speak unless he reads it. He cannot speak off the top of his head. He said, oh, now's the time for healing and bringing the country together. For 4 years, he and his friends have tried to rip Trump out of the White Office by every single means they can. They have been the most destructive force in world politics, and now they want to placate the electorate and say, come on, let's just all be together, we're all one. They have done more to divide that country than any person living. And as for trusting the elect, why would you trust the Democrats over anything when you're see what they've done. And that's why he's got 3 or 4 court challenges going for the validity of the vote. I have no problem saying that about Biden. He is a buffoon. Right now, that's it on the electorate. And here, this is how...
I've got one more thing to say on a lighter note. Do you realise that last Sunday at 11:30pm, the 8th of November, the next president in pool, the next US president pool, was about to pass $1 billion mark. This is the biggest betting on a 2-horse race ever seen on this planet.
Yep. So Donald...
Trump remains a chance at that stage. Trump remained a chance at $20. And if you prefer Joe, layers will accommodate you to the tune of $493 at $1.05.
So Don, up until the votes came in from the 3 disputed states, electorates, Trump was a short price favourite to win the election. And then the votes came in late. Which are the ones under dispute, and will be decided whether they're valid or legal votes, not counting all the votes, counting the legal votes, and then his odds blew out because they will leave no stone, the Democrats, unturned to rid this man, and they've already anointed Biden illegally. He is not the president yet, and he may well not be. But that, if he is, and if they count the legal votes and he still is, good and well. But tell me why the Democrat observers have not allowed the Trump people in to oversee the counting of those 3 critical states. They will not let them in. Would that tell you something that
that's interesting because I haven't heard that reported. Obviously, you've heard it reported somewhere. I haven't.
No, so we've said this before, Don. All depends where you get your news.
Exactly.
You'll never get it. They held Biden to account for not one thing. He's dealing with the Russians, he's dealing with Ukraine, not the Russians, he's dealing with the Chinese, he's dealing with the Ukraine, the fact that he's a sexual predator, he had a sexual case of misconduct by a very credible woman come up about him, his son, they're into it up to their neck, they're the most corrupt, dishonest people, and he is a blatant liar. He's just an empty vessel full of crap. Now,
but he went to church on Sunday.
That's how hypocritical he is. And this is how craven, which is another word for pusillanimous, means you're a coward. This bloke in the Australian says this: it may be hard to take. It might be in bad taste to say so, but a good deal of the Trump legacy is positive. Why would you have to put the first bit in? Why is it bad taste to say Trump has been a positive influence on that country? That's how craven and how dishonest the people are. And I tell you, there's 70 million people who voted for Trump and because they think he was great, and the other mob were pumped up by a dishonest media and social platform, and Biden escaped without having to front anyone. He is a disgrace, and God help America if he's got to go onto the world stage.
We'll wait and see what happens.
Right, so there's the election out of the way. Yes, please, I want you to ask any question you like.
We take the piss out of each other a bit about this, but I want to be serious for a sec. Hear me out. What I just want to put to you is, when things are this polarised, right?
Yep.
So, you know what I mean, as they are, and
Yes.
people are angry, and
Yes.
you've used a word that I don't
Go
think you
on.
should use. No, but that's because you're angry, right?
No,
And
you-
when things are this, when people are, whether it be a country or, as we
Yep.
can all relate to, like in
Yep.
a work environment or whether it be in a sporting club,
Yes.
it's poor leadership. And it doesn't matter why or who, right? I know this from my own experience,
on.
being,
Get
a
on with
manager
it.
of people, that it's your responsibility to fix it. It doesn't matter if it's your fault or not.
So-
and this is the problem, mate. For the last 4 years, everybody's been so bitter and twisted. And surely that's a leadership issue.
You, I hate to say this, you dumbass. For 4 years, they have not accepted a democratically elected president. They've done every
But
single...
reach out and
Listen
fix
to...
it. Reach out and fix
why,
it.
Why would... Joe Biden now wants to reach out because he thinks he's going to be the president and he doesn't want any of the disruption going on. He has been single-handedly, along with the Democrats, well, collectively, they have tried to rout Donald Trump out of office by, if you've been following it, which you obviously haven't, every single week they come up with something that they think, and you talk about placating the electorate. Why would he trust anyone, and why wouldn't he go his hardest to stick up for himself? Whether you like him or not, what they've done to him is an absolute disgrace. And the people responsible for it, silly, dumb Joe Biden, who is nothing more than a fuckwit. And seriously, you've got to just examine who that man is. And I take nothing back I've said about that man. And I told you I'm not using that term I used disparagingly or offensively to anyone else. I'm specifically mentioning him, and that's why I took it down off the tweet, not because I was intimidated by the vole, the screaming shrews that rail up because they're just piss weak. Every single medical person says that, and that's what he is. He's in decline. He has become retarded mentally. So that's it with that. If you like, if you want to go on with it, please. But just wait until the Supreme Court decide if the legal votes make that stupid man the president. Right now. So
Hit
Donald,
the button, Rodney.
No, Donald. Now, could I? Now we'll just. Have you got anything? So it's. Can I tell you what it is this week? It's NAIDOC week. This is. I think the. Now, please, you can correct me. NAIDOC week is. I think the Aboriginals' version of Australia Day. Is it not? It's when they celebrate country. Do you know that?
No, keep going.
Well, we should mention what I think NAIDOC means. Now, let me just. I think it means National Aboriginal Indigenous Islanders. National Aboriginal and Islanders Day of committee of occasion day or committee. What's NAIDOC mean, please? National
Aborigines
Islanders
and
Day.
Islanders Day Observance Committee.
Observance Committee. So they observe this week what their version, maybe the correct one, but their version of what they think Australia Day is. And now the reason I'm asking this, are you a collector of art, Donald, and do you have Aboriginal?
Well, I was going to collect art when I went to the Northern Territory years and years ago.
And why didn't you?
I just didn't have the
fiscally.
I just didn't have the balls to do it, to take a punt
on what?
Because I was captivated by the Aboriginal art.
So Don, go no further. If you think it's good to look at and it's aesthetically appealing, what's it matter? Why would you take a punt? Buy it.
No, well, I just wasn't going to do it.
I have some fantastic Aboriginal art.
I think it's terrific.
Great works by
awesome.
Tommy Watson, and a collection, a series by Donna Bridge, which when I was up with Catherine, I met her in a hut. She had it rolled up, and she opened it up, Aboriginal woman, and I said, that is fantastic. I bought it on the spot, framed it. It is aesthetically as good a art. I enjoy it. It's hanging up in my house. So I'm not sure why you would have to think about buying it if you like it. Which leads me to this, Donald. We paid $100,000 into the, this is an inquiry. This podcast paid $100,000 into the Michael Long Charity Foundation to get Nicky Winmar a job. The AFL said they were going to match it, dollar for dollar. I think that's correct, isn't it? That is correct.
Dollar for dollar.
They said they were going to contribute.
They were just going to disperse.
They were going to contribute a similar amount to get Nicky Winmar a job. I was just wondering, is he gainfully employed at this stage by the AFL? And I was wondering where we were up to with that because
this is a question without notice. Number one, because I was under a completely different impression of why we paid the money.
We paid him to give him to.
We gave it to the Michael Long Foundation,
and the AFL were to employ Nikki Winmar, in a ambassadorial capacity. And I was just wondering where that's got to. That's all I was asking, seeing as it's NAIDOC week. That's all I was asking. That's all I was asking. And if you like art, Donald, if it's aesthetically pleasing to you, snap it up, mate. That's what you should do. So, if you, I know I've spoken a lot. You got anything at all on that?
Oh, no, I'll just sit back and listen. I've got a crook arm and I just can't contribute today.
How's your brain? Is it affected your brain? We'll read out what you got down there to speak about.
No, just you continue on,
No,
Johnny.
I want
Johnny
you-
half hour.
Come on. Well, all right. Well, go on. No,
That's life.
go on. Have a crack at it.
Crack at what?
Bring up a topic.
Well, there's a lot of things going on. I know my interest is in horses, but there's a lot of people talking about the Melbourne Cup and the horses, the fatalities. But it's a bigger issue than just, and you hear all these people, academics, talking about it. Werribee's not the place to train a horse.
What's that?
Don's phone.
Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus.
Don't blaspheme, you.
You what?
Blasphemy. It's called blasphemy.
You
It's
had to
using
call
our
him-
Lord-
you had to call
our
him
Lord's
something.
name in vain.
I'm
about to
sorry.
call him
I've
something.
taken it back. I'm taking it back. God,
Good. Thank
forgive
you.
me.
Forgive yourself and cross yourself.
So, Don, the horses have captivated you again. Did you like Rex Hunt's? We had tremendous.
Well, we didn't even discuss the issue. You're not across it, are you? Anything that you're not across, you're not interested in.
I'm talking about horses.
Well, I'm telling you, the academics have put their point forward. But the issue is much greater than that. Australia's got an inferiority complex. In everything we do, we always want to be compared to overseas or how we measure up overseas. And the Melbourne Cup is one of those things that they took overseas to gain acceptance on the international stage because they believed that they weren't getting the exposure they should internationally for a race like the Melbourne Cup and the Carnival. And now they've brought in a lot of horses from overseas to race. And unfortunately, over the past few years, there's been some fatalities. So there's an issue here. They can say, oh, the track at Werribee's no good, or the track that they race on, or whatever else. But the issue...
So there's some collateral damage when you have physical specimens, whether they be animals
And
or
the
humans.
the academics are talking as well, John, and giving their point of view forward. I didn't hear one horseman come on and tell about the bone structure or the physique of these particular
What, during the
horses,
Melbourne Cup Carnival?
talking
That'd be
about the
riveting
horses
stuff, mate.
themselves.
Yeah,
and as much as...
Let me tell you how this will go. They're lining up now for the start of the Melbourne Cup. Incidentally, Gaddam, his bone structure is extraordinary. See how his hindquarters come down from his spine and they transgress into his neck, and you can see the who would be interested in that?
The interest comes from the fact that fatalities is that the horses are, in some cases, are unable to stand the rigours of the race because they're not bred. They're bred as far as performance for it.
They're inbred.
But well done. And it's either called I'm not saying they're inbred, but it could be line breeding too.
I see. So yeah, they're getting the
thoroughbreds
best. They're
the
exploiting them.
thoroughbreds go back to 7 stallions, 7 sires. Years ago, they go back to 7 sires. Now, people are trying to follow the line, and the breeding has become very sophisticated, but the product coming out of the end is not what it used to be.
If you
The horses have got smaller feet. The thoroughbred has a smaller feet. It's a smaller animal. Even looking at some of those staying horses in the Melbourne Cup, they're not big in physique.
If you can't talk about the Goulburn River or its waterways, which has no water in it, or horses, you are bereft of any topic to talk about. The only topic you ever bring up is when I ask you, say, yes, well, there's a big investigation still going on about horse slaughtering in the abattoirs. Don.
And that train.
And the train, the fucking
What
train.
train?
Oh, the train to Mount Gambier. And
What's
Don,
happened about that? The bus? No, it was the bus from
The bus
Port
was
Ferry.
the
wasn't
bus was the replacement.
it? Haywood.
Yeah, but the bus was the replacement because the train didn't go all the way. It's your story, Don.
I told you about the bloke who was asked to...
Was it the train?
I
Jacinda Allen, yeah.
I told you about the bloke who was
I
asked...
wonder what I should ask
All
Barney
right.
McCusker what happened to that
Try it
train.
again.
Or the
He'll
bus.
let you know.
I told you about the bloke who was asked to drive the bus down to the train and bring the passengers back to the hotel, didn't I? It was
No, you
his
haven't.
first job. I did, but I'll tell you again. It was his first job and he got a bit nervous. So he drove the bus down to meet the train at the station. He got out and the Astor Hotel had employed him and he said, "Free ass to the Hotel Buster."
What?
The bloke had to drive the bus and all he had to do is get out of the bus and say, "Free bus to the Hotel Astor." That's what he had to say. So he got out of the bus and he was a bit nervous and he says,
"Oh, okay.
"Free ass to the Hotel Buster." I mean, bust your ass at the Hotel Freezer. I mean, freeze your ass at the Hotel Buster. Oh, kiss my ass, you bastards, and get a taxi. I quit. So that's just a bloke who's driving the bus. Now, Don. Rex Hunt here did a magnificent call. He didn't mention any injuries or bone structures of horses as they were going into the gate, but I will take that on advisement. I want to ask you, and I'll have a crack at it, could you, if you had the horses' names in front of you, could you have done we'll have a crack at it.
No, I could not do it.
I'm the Clark announcer. And it's over now to Don Scott, who's going to call the running of the 2020 Melbourne Cup. Don?
There would be...
Go on, now do it.
Nearly a minute and a half silence, and I'd pick the 1, 2 and 3 as they went across
We'll have
the line.
a crack now at it.
I could not do it.
Oh,
It's
they're
an art.
entering the starters mounted his platform, hand on the electric button, stuff like that. Go on.
I sit in amazement at the guys that actually call the races on Channel 78 every day.
Channel 78.
Channel 78, it's a racing channel.
Jeez.
And they're calling them from Matoa and Witchyproof and Minyip and wherever else.
So do you know
and they get the colours right and the horses right.
So do you know
it's an amazing ability.
You know how stingy you are? When Rex did that great call last week, and he said, "And he goes across the line and I can't pick him," and I think, whatever he said.
That's theatre.
Don. And I said, "That was brilliant, Rex." And you said, "Rex, you never mentioned anyone in the crowd who might be watching."
That's what I was about to say. If anyone out there is listening, go back and listen to that race again and just listen to the bloke in the crowd.
He didn't mention anyone in the
No, but there is a bloke in the crowd. It's hilarious.
Is there?
No, but
There is a bloke in the crowd. You can
Who was
listen to
it?
him. It was him.
Oh, you were the
He was
crowd.
going out.
I
Listen
didn't.
carefully. It's pretty funny.
I didn't hear that.
we were going for...
Yeah, hang on. With the use of the whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, bash the bastard or
No,
whatever.
hit him with the fucking whip.
Yeah, but-
Hit him with a fucking whip! And all you could do...
will you shut up?
all you could do was say-
You can't exist if you're not putting shit on somebody.
Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Righto.
You should pay me to come in
So,
here.
Don, there's another study now. I know we mentioned this before, that they say climate change now is being affected seriously about what the human population eat. There's 8 billion of us on the planet, and they say it is they think it's going to rise by 2 degrees, the temperature, in the next 50 years, which will be catastrophe, and it's not purely, but it has a lot to do with what we eat. And we have scientists, some of them in Sweden and in the Nordic countries, that say that the thing we should now do is eat plants and insects and bark off trees, and get away with farming meat and animals that produce meat, because besides them costing a lot to maintain and using fossil fuels to plough the paddocks and give them foliage, they fart a lot, Donald. So I want to ask you this question. If there's 8 billion people on the planet, what would be the average number of times a day a human would fart? How often do you fart, Donald, if I may be so personal as to ask?
Depends on if I'm in company.
No. Doesn't depend on that
It
at
does.
all.
Well, I mean, you got to.
So you're in company.
Social etiquette.
So you're in company now. Are you?
But on a normal day, John, when you're on your own, you just let it rip, do you?
Are you? You're in company now with us.
Well, I'm maintaining my dignity.
So are you thinking you'd like to fart?
No, I am not.
Okay.
I am just not. It doesn't even come into my mind because.
Do you know the answer,
social
John?
etiquette? Give me the answer.
No, I don't know the answer. I would reckon the average person would probably fart
42.
42
I
times.
don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm going to look it up.
Oh, yeah, he's looking it up.
Depends on what you eat as well.
You must have a very weary bottom or ass, Donald, because I've heard it snoring on several occasions. Your ass goes to sleep and then it starts to snore, doesn't it?
You're telling me.
Well, it does. I hear it snoring all the time.
Okay.
I think I
I
heard
was
it
talking
snore
to some
before.
tradies yesterday.
Hang on, what did you say? What was your guess?
My guess was I would reckon about 10, 12 times.
Okay. What do you reckon, Don?
Oh, depends on what you eat.
I thought it was a lot more than this. Doctors say the average person farts anywhere from 5 to 15 times per day.
See, I didn't know that, but I would have said a dozen times, 10 times. Now, if you've got 8 billion people farting 10 times a day, I reckon that'd put into the shade any livestock that fart, wouldn't it? How about we cull out half the population in the world? That might save the planet.
I said that weeks and months ago.
No, but cull them out.
I said we should restrict the numbers of people coming into this world.
Have a big shoot, go out and
you
just
control the
half
birth
the
rate.
population.
Control the birth rate.
So do you think that'll happen?
But our economy depends on a bigger population, so it's a false economy. But talking to a couple of traders yesterday, I know we're going through Corona, but the general population is very unsure of itself for next year. And this tradie was telling me he's quoted on, say, 100 jobs, 90% of those have been knocked back because people are unsure. 10% of he's got the quotes. This is abnormal, but I would say next year it could be very interesting. People are very apprehensive.
Do you know what the 4 months lockdown they estimate cost this state?
I think it cost us a lot of money. If it wasn't for the state government, the federal government, I think a lot more Victorians would be complaining because we've got handouts for 4 months.
I will pose the question again. Do you know?
No, I don't. Tell me.
They say the 4 months when Andrews botched the quarantine thing and we went into lockdown because we had 800 deaths cost us $200 million. That's just us here in predominantly Melbourne, but Victoria certainly. $200 million. But I suppose that pales into insignificance when you say he cancelled a $1 billion freeway project to get elected in the first place. Wouldn't you say that?
But didn't the...
I think it's more than that. I really do.
What, 200 bill?
Oh, billion, did you say?
No,
Million.
No, million, I said, yeah.
It feels low.
It does, doesn't it?
I don't know the answer. I'll have a look, see what I can find.
Now...
Yeah, but hang on. Is that including the two, when you say it costs, is this the
business, yes. Loss of productivity.
This is not including... This is not, the expenses such as that court, the
No,
inquiry,
this is loss
and
of
also
productivity to the traders. Now, Donald, can you believe this? Anything on the sheet there that you've got, incidentally, beside the structure of horse bones and horses? Anything there? You just going through your list, are you? What have you got there?
I'm just not listening to your bullshit.
Have you got a topic? I want to engage in something you want to talk about.
You never engage.
I want to.
Okay, so can I just get back to that other thing? The Treasury estimated the size of the real economy in the September quarter would be reduced by between $7 and $9 billion.
Yeah, the Australian.
No, that's Victoria.
So the lockdown cost us $7 billion.
Well, this is on.
There you are, Donald. That's how
my
bad
business.
That's how bad my information is.
If I got it wrong, I'm sorry, but that's like Victoria's shut down its economy to stave off the second wave of COVID-19 in the state. So it's a reference to Victoria.
$7 billion,
and it says the Treasury expects the September quarter, so for 3 months.
Isn't
so it's actually so. I guess the actual period is longer than 3 months.
Where did I get $200 million from,
it did
Donald?
seem a bit. Maybe that was the actual cost of enforcing it, the lockdown.
$7 billion.
No, the $200 million might have cost to actually enforce it. With all the
it costs a lot more than that, surely.
Well,
I don't know.
$7 billion.
We don't know what we're talking about.
Now, Don, I want to ask you this, unless you want to bring up something, do you, Don? Okay. Do you know the Malaysian jet that went into they reckon, the Indian Ocean, MA?
Yes.
You know how long they looked for it, don't you? 2 years.
Yes.
They now say, I don't know how long ago that was, 5 years. They now say it's nowhere near. It went down nowhere near where they were looking. It went down because it tried to land in the Maldives. Didn't
they pick up part of the wreckage Was it the Maldives?
Well, they picked up wreckage.
On the east coast of Africa,
yeah, but that means nothing, because the currents just swept it halfway around the world, the sea currents. They said, how could you have a 2-year investigation looking in a place that they now decided was nowhere near where the plane went down? They said it tried to land in the Maldives, which is just off Sri Lanka. I don't know where the Maldives is. So it's out in the middle of the ocean.
Sure.
It's part of Asia.
Yeah, that's right. It's up.
So who would decide? Who would decide that that's where you should look? And how have they suddenly discovered?
They had experts looking. I mean,
how have they suddenly?
Navy was involved.
How have they? I know that's because they were told to look there. How would they have suddenly decided and discovered that that's not where we should have looked?
But wasn't some of the wreckage picked up by? Was it Madagascar?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter where the wreckage was picked up because the currents float the wings and shit everywhere.
Would the currents come down from the Maldives, which is up above the equator?
Well, I'm not an oceanographer, Don. I think the currents go right around the planet, to be honest.
They go in different ways.
It's if you put a letter in a bottle.
Our weather is affected by the currents.
If you wanted to write a love letter to a loved one and stuck it in a bottle and threw it into the Port Phillip Bay here, you might be staggered in 5 years. It might end up in, could end up in Russia, in the Black Sea somewhere, and they'll say, I've got a letter here from a bloke in Australia called Don Scott. He says, please come. I don't know what that means, but I think it means visit me. I'm not sure what he's talking about. This could be Australia speak. I'm going to write back to Don. He's left a message here written in crayon. I think I can read it. I'll ring him up, eh? It's a crossword clue. This was a crossword clue, Donald. You could try and woo your suitors by asking them this. This was a crossword clue.
You listening to Don?
It's a 4-letter word, specifically referring to a female. This is a true crossword clue that I saw in the paper.
4 letters.
4-letter word, specifically referring to a female, and the last 3 letters are UNT. Specifically referring to a female. A crossword clue. Something UNT.
Right.
What would you think that'd be?
Yes, I'm not going to mention on there, yeah.
You're not? Well, what would you think when you looked at that?
Are there any? What about up and downs? Can we get a bit of a clue there?
No, it just had
fairly good clues he's giving you there, mate.
I understand that, but
you've only got to stick one letter in front of the UNT.
I understand that, but there might be a letter going vertically.
And if you put that in a bottle and just set it out on an ebbing tide and it landed in the Black Sea in Russia and someone picked it up and they said, here's a man wants to know what is specifically refers to a female ending in UNT.
Okay, well, what is the letter?
Aunt. AUNT. What did you have in mind? What were you thinking?
You're disgraceful, Don. You're terrible.
What were you thinking? You are.
I was waiting for the down clue.
What would you need a
That's
down?
That's how we got the last 4 letters.
Beg your pardon?
That's how we got the last 4 letters.
Yeah.
Last 3 letters.
From the down?
Yeah.
Don, you're a grubby little man. Seriously, you talk about me blaspheming, and I'm sorry if I take the Lord's name in vain. You're nothing but just a grubby little fancy.
Like the politicians in Canberra?
Grubby?
Well, it's a bit of a men's club. Didn't you watch that expose last night?
Tell us about it, Don. There's a topic. Go for it. Go for it.
Well, what were you doing in bed, were you? Or watching SBN?
I was in bed looking for work.
Looking for work?
Oh, Don, please. Do I have to explain every single fucking thing I say to you? I was in bed looking for work. It's a euphemism for I was trying to get a route, all right? That's what it means. Now, Don, tell me about the thing that was on the television.
I turned it off because it was just grubby.
What was it about?
About the men's club that exists in Canberra amongst the politicians.
Well, more information. Go ahead. I'm interested.
Our women are apparently, or staff is being degraded by the men's club that exists up there, and they're just giving
sexual harassment.
And 2 things have come out of it. I think Christian Porter and a fellow called Alan Tudge have been.
Well, explain it, man, please. I don't know. I'm interested, but explain it.
Well, have been accused of extracurricular activities outside.
Touching them up.
Well, a bit more than that.
Bit more than that. What?
Yeah, but I turned it off because I'm not into all that grubbiness and whatever else.
Oh, aren't you? But you just thought aunt wasn't the real clue and wasn't the real word in the crossword. You thought it was something else, did you? You got a one-track mind, Donald, please. Anything else on there? that you might want to speak about?
Hit the button, Rob.
No, hang on a minute. Well, I was going to get on to so that'd be in sport,
Yep.
Hawthorne. No, I had some other things to talk about. Why would it be? Did you notice the headline that Prince Charles said he backed the sacking of Gough Whitlam back in 1975? Was it? Why? What is that? Why would you write that up in the paper? That Prince Charles, the documents have come out that he backed.
Well, the Queen, the Governor General is the Queen's representative,
That's right.
and he would have written. The Governor General would have made the Queen aware of what was going on.
That's correct. Well, what is so controversial about Prince Charles, who was 12 in that stage? Well, whatever. What would so controversial about politically implicating him to say he backed the sacking of Whitlam? He backed the Queen's representative, which is his mother, and John Kerr was the Queen's representative. Why would that be news that he backed him? Of course you'd back him. That's what his mother appointed him for, not to sack Whitlam, but to oversee the Commonwealth, I presume. Donald.
So what's your point?
Yeah, good topic, Don.
Well, my point is, how they're trying to malign the royalty, or why would you? That is not even news. Why is that? Why would you bring that up? It's like the bloke that says, if you can stand the heat and don't want to be talked down, Donald Trump did some good things. Why would you have to say the first part?
We brought up an article last week that said that Donald Trump could be a genius in any other sphere.
That's right, but they apologise for saying it because they don't want to upset people. That's how craven, that is how cowardly they are, Donald.
Are you a royalist, Sam?
I'm a royalist, yeah, I am. But that's all right. I'm happy if we become a republic, but I'm a royalist. I'm sorry about that. Is that all right?
That's all right.
What are you, Donald? Eddie Maguire, my very good friend, he's a staunch
Republican.
Republican. He hopes we'd be a republic, and that's fine. No probs. But I tell you what, when we have two differing sets of opinions, we won't have to board up our apartments and board up our businesses in case there's a riot because people dissent from the popular view, which is what's going on in America, Donald. Now, here's another thing. Now, you'll be aware of this. Sorry to bring some topics up, but I found these. There's an app now, you can download the Frog app, Frog, F-R-O-G, Frog app, rip it, because they say, the ecologists or the people, the botanists say, frogs are the bellwether of the world climate and the world, what's going on in the world botanically and ecology-wise. And there is, if you hear it, this is what they said. If you hear a frog croak, that is not die, but it goes ribbit.
Yeah, I understand. I listen to him each morning.
That's it. Well, there you are.
What's your point?
They want you to download the app and post where you heard the frogs croak.
In the dam.
Well, you've got to give in the dam. This is Don Scott. I can hear frogs croaking in my dam. They want the location. They want the degrees north and south and the cosine of where the frogs are croaking, because they say this will give a very good indication as to the health or otherwise of the country and the ecology. Is ecology the word about ecology, Don? So will you download the Frog app? And
what?
Yes, no, I'm serious. You think I'm making this up? Rocket, please. If you could just Google the Frog app.
Hey, listen, next year...
Have you listened about the frogs?
I am listening about the frogs.
Well, you can do something to save the planet rather than just down there...
Listening to the frogs of the morning.
Or getting chlamydia from the kookaburras or touching up your horses down there.
Listen, next year, do you think we'll be wearing masks? Will you be wearing a mask to the supermarket?
That's a very good question. I would not have to be asked to wear a mask. I'd like to wear a mask in a crowded environment like a tram or a train or in... I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing masks. Irrespective of the Chinese coronavirus, you don't want to get flu and...
So you think it'll become socially acceptable next year?
in large groups of people, I think I have no problem wearing a mask in large groups of people.
No, but that's you. But do you think it'll be socially acceptable? People will be wearing masks?
Well, I think people will be wearing masks in large groups of people because they don't want to be sneezed on or...
Because the rates of influenza have gone down this year, haven't they?
So there you are. So I have no problem. I wouldn't have to be told by a government to wear one. I would just think it's wise to wear a mask in large groups of people who you don't know who they are or where they've been, and they might think the same
about
about
you. It's going
you.
to compromise social barriers, though.
In other words, social barriers.
Well, in as much as...
What do you mean, beg your pardon?
Conversing and whatever else. But, it's intimidating having a mask on.
Yeah, well, I can't even...
We've got electrical devices now. What is it, Twitter and Facebook?
Electrical devices.
Whatever you call them. People don't converse the way they used to.
Electrical devices. I can't understand conversing with you, Don. You haven't even got a mask on. I can hardly hear you when you speak into that thing there in front of you and take your hand away from your mouth.
Okay, so do you think we're going to be socially inhibited next year as far as conversation goes?
Well, you can still... I'm not sure in large groups of people like the football crowd or a tram, I'm not sure that you want to talk too much to the people at the football or the crowd. Maybe you do, but... you don't have to wear a mask if there's 10 or 20 or 30 of you and know who they are or where they've been.
I don't know, well...
And you can speak through a mask. Look, I know this is not good radio, but I'll put this mask on here, and I've got a mask on. Have I not?
Can you tell me why
Have I got a mask on?
Yes, you have.
Right. Can you understand me?
I can. Now, why is that mask illegal?
Because someone arbitrarily...
That's right.
What?
That's exactly right.
I won't finish the answer. Go ahead.
Go on. You said it was arbitrary. Go on.
Well, I said because someone arbitrarily, and you said, yes, that's right.
Well,
so that's right what?
It was somebody's opinion that mask is no value as against this mask over here.
What are you pointing at? No one can see you.
I have got my own mask, which I had one of those masks, which I thought were fantastic, and I'm now wearing... the mask that you're supposed to wear.
No.
So they say.
Yes, I'm not taking any notice of the masks they say you're supposed to wear. I'm wearing a mask that is purpose-built to stop breath coming out of my nose and mouth directly onto people, and I don't give a stuff what the government say about the mask I'm wearing. It is better than any mask that would be manufactured by someone.
Do you think the government may have ordered so many masks that they've got an obligation to the manufacturer?
Maybe, Donald. I can't give that. Is that it? What? Righto. We're going to finish now. Can I ask you this now? Just don't do it
hit
yet.
the button.
No, don't. Just a minute.
I've got to make a doctor's appointment.
Just a minute. Don, now, when you shout at me, don't do it yet, Rocket. When you shout at me, I've tried to just bring I've done frogs, I've done climate, I've done farting, I've done Biden, I've done... the economy, I've done... What?
Crossword.
I've done the crossword aunt that you thought was just a disgraceful word that means minge or flange. I've done all that. Oh. And you know what you've brought up? The bone structure of fucking horses before they jump out of the boxes at the Melbourne Cup and some other lame thing. Why don't you write something down? Why don't you?